What's up, guys? So get the popcorn popping, get the sauce pouring, get the hot dogs made, get your coffee made. Hurry up and make love to your wife because it's time for the Lucha Libre News/Rant Show. That's right, it's your favorite show right here on Peter Buddy. So let's just stop the bullshitting and let's just dive right into everything, shall we? I got a little bit of a decent show today for you guys. Of course, I couldn't, unfortunately, include everything in today's show. It was a rather big week for Lucha Libre action, as any Lucha Libre fans do know. Anyway, Koza, K-A-O-Z. I'm never too sure how to pronounce their name, but the Lucha Libre promotion held an event this past week, and it was insane. It was amazing. All these guys, I knew every time that Koza has an event, it's always really good. It's always pretty much insane. We've seen Sexy Deleuze, Marcel, and Estrelita take on Tiffany, Lady Flamer, and Lady Puma. Now this matchup was rather intense. It was good to see Deleuze and Flamer in action, because I haven't seen them in action for a little bit, and it was actually really good to see them in action again. This matchup was an extremely back and forth, very hard hitting, and extremely technical. The back and forth between Deleuze and Tiffany was insanely off the wall. Now these two have been feuding for several months, and the feud, and these two just took their feud to a whole another level during this matchup. Now we did see Tiffany pull up the win by pinning Deleuze. But it did not stop there, as the back and forth between Tiffany and Deleuze went on even during the match, even when the matchup was over. I mean, the feud, there's definitely going to be more matches between these two, as they just kept brawling and going at it after the matchup was over. Those two pretty much made the matchup, even though the matchup was definitely rather good on its own. Another great matchup of the night was we seen Ultimate Guerrero and Gran Guerrero as they faced Dynamite, Azul, and Fresco Jr. This matchup was definitely one for the ages. Now the matchup was definitely not the matchup of the night, but it was the best matchup I've seen these two teams involved in a rather long time. The in-ring action was actually rather unreal. The out-of-ring action was just simply amazing. This matchup was action-packed, high-flying, hard-hitting to the extreme. The back and forth had me on the edge of my seat and guessing until the very end. Now the Guerreros did, in fact, win this matchup via pinfall. But if you haven't seen this matchup, I believe you could check it out on YouTube somewhere. And I would definitely recommend checking this match out. If it's the only matchup you're going to see all week, make it this matchup. It was just that good. Now Black Taurus ended up taking on Mr. Iguana and Vesco Jr. in a triple threat TLC matchup. Now this matchup could have been way better in my opinion, but nonetheless it was still okay. Mr. Iguana ended up winning this matchup by, of course, climbing the ladder and pulling down the briefcase, which was later found to be full of money. Now I'm definitely not a fan of Mr. Iguana. I think he's okay. He's definitely climbing the ladder. We see him in a bunch of promotions lately. Does he have what it takes to take it to the top of the Lucha Libre world? Probably not, but just because I don't like him doesn't mean that he won't actually get there, right? Now for me, the matchup of the night was definitely a matchup I've been looking forward to for an extremely long time. That was Mil Muertes versus Ramses. Now this matchup was just simply amazing. Ramses beat on Mil Muertes for a while, and Mil Muertes ended up beating on Ramses for a while. This matchup had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Mil Muertes ended up pulling out the win, of course, but it was an extremely hard-fought battle. Now it was definitely good to see the two legends in the ring together. You don't really see that too often, especially guys at this caliber. Ramses is, of course, for those of you who don't know, Ramses is, of course, Silver Surfer. The guy who plays Silver Surfer also doubles up and plays as Ramses as well, or fights as Ramses as well. Mil Muertes is, of course, Mercedes, who fights as Mercedes, fights as Mil Muertes sometimes. Whenever Lucha Underground is involved in an event, I guess Lucha Underground had something to do with this, because he was Mil Muertes for that night, and it was a really amazing matchup. Like, this matchup was probably my matchup of the year so far, or it definitely was one of the top contenders for being matchup of the year. This matchup was just simply amazing. Just the two names, Mil Mortes and Ramses. I mean, that's just legendary status right there. And to see these two guys in the ring at the same time, especially against each other, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, it's truly amazing. But let's move on from that and talk about a little bit of AAA. Now, AAA held their fifth Facebook Watch event the other day, and it was actually really good. The matchups were quite evenly. If you bet on the matches, it would be pretty hard to call because they set up quite even matches. It's definitely pay-per-view worthy. We see Panego take on Aerostar. This matchup was actually pretty decent. Panego, of course, ended up taking the win of that one. We also see Maximo take on Nino in a rather even matchup. That was definitely that was definitely pay-per-view worthy, and really, it was decent back and forth. I mean, it was just a really good matchup. Max did win that matchup. Unfortunately, I would have liked to see Nino win that matchup because I think that he can go really far, and I think he's just a better luchador to go with. I think he could go really far in this business. Max, I don't really see too much for him. The main event did see Pentagon Jr. take on Golden Magic. Now, I wasn't really involved, I wasn't really looking forward to this matchup, but this matchup definitely ended up stealing the show and became for me the matchup of the night. Now, definitely if you haven't checked out this Facebook Live event, you need to check it out. I'm sure you probably could go on AAA's YouTube channel. They post a lot of stuff there. You could probably find it on there. If not, go on their Facebook page. I'm sure their video is still up. I don't really know. But I knew Pentagon would win this matchup, but it was still, even though I knew I apologize about that, my camera ended up dying, but as I was saying, I can't really say enough good things about this matchup. It was really great. I mean, it was just really good. I mean, they brawled into the crowd, they brawled outside of the ring, they brawled in the ring. I mean, it was just a really amazing matchup, really high flying. I mean, just everything you want in a really good, perfect luchador matchup. This was it. Like, this was really good. I'm surprised that AAA had this high caliber of an event for free on Facebook, when they definitely could have easily made this event a pay-per-view. But keeping in with AAA, let's just move on with AAA, as they did hold another event live on Twitch. Now, this was good. This was a good event with, of course, some disappointment. Now, Lady Shani did take on Fabi for the women's title, and of course, Lady Shani ended up winning. This is, of course, her third time as women's champion. She was, of course, women's champion before. Then Fabi ended up beating her for it. Then she beat Fabi for it. Then, it was back and forth. She beat Fabi for it. Fabi beat her for it, and then she just beat Fabi again for it, and now the feud between these two has, in my mind, of course, run its course, and I definitely think now it should be over and done with. Things are just getting a little too old in that feud department, so much so that I just lost interest in it. During their last match, their last matchup was the hair versus mask matchup. Lady Shani won it. They should have just really called it there, but they're keeping this feud going, and I don't know. I think they should just call it and end it right there. But moving on, son of Viking, Laredo Kid and Mercedes ended up beating Brava Jr., Mokakota Jr., and Tito Santana for the AAA World Trios Championship. Now, I'm definitely shocked by this. I'm shocked that such a dominant team, such a fan favorite, actually lost the titles to what I'm calling a sub tag team. A tag team that really isn't really a fan favorite, or really isn't that great. Don't get me wrong, these luchadors, they're still really good. I think the tag team, I think it could have gone to a better tag team. But I'm interested to see where AAA is going to take that. Now, of course, Rey Scorpion and Texano Jr. ended up beating Joe Leiter and Panego, Pagano, and Cycle and Extremo to keep the AAA Sorry, I just lost my place there. To keep the AAA tag team titles. And this matchup was actually really good. Now, anytime you get Texano Jr. and Rey Escorpion in the ring, I mean, it's going to be a really great matchup. These guys have been involved in some of the greatest tag team matchups of all time in AAA. I mean, these two have been involved in. They're a really great tag team, and they definitely deserve to keep the titles. That was actually a really good matchup. Now, the letdown of the night, and in my opinion, the biggest letdown of all time, was Drago versus Son of Phantasma. Drago is the new Latin American champion. Now, this is the worst thing ever. I've, of course, been following Drago's career since before he even put on the mask a very long time ago. And this guy is this guy's the worst luchador of all time. I mean, he never wins a matchup. Like, come on, like Drago, he's a jobber. Basically, Drago is a jobber. If you want to put a guy over, you put him against Drago. Drago will put him over and he'll lose. Like him and Aerostar as a tag team were the worst tag team because they never win. You walk out and you know they're gonna win. Same with Drago. I mean, like you gave a jobber the title. You know what I mean? Like, this is the biggest titles, one of the biggest titles in all of Lucha Libre, and you gave it to a jobber. I'm really wondering what AAA is actually doing with this, and why, like, they have so many good luchadors in the ring that could have taken that title. That would have been amazing, like La Parca, Cross, Blue Demon, Psycho Clown. I mean, like, Maximo, Nino, like anybody really could have actually taken this, and yet they gave it to the least most popular, the least talented, the least winning, the least, exciting luchador that they possibly could do. The only reason that I'm thinking that they actually gave Drago the title was because they wanted to say, hey, let's do a transition. Son of Phantasma is going to go for the title. I don't know if he is. I'm just saying. But the only way that I could explain to them giving them the Drago the title is, they want to free up Son of Phantasma for something else. Either he's going to be used to go for the title, or he's going to be thrown into a tag team title mix, and then, you know what I mean? Or, maybe he's going to go for the trio titles, or there's something involved with him losing the title, especially to somebody like Drago. Like, maybe Drago is going to lose it in like a day or two, but I think that this is the biggest disappointment, that the worst thing that AAA could have done. I don't know, like, maybe they're trying to fresh up their thing, but I don't know. Drago is just such a disappointment. Like, it was bad. Like, this is really bad. It's horrible. But anyway, moving on with things. So Phoenix did come out, and I guess Brian Cage did have some words as well. Phoenix did come out. Phoenix is the champion now. He did come out and he had some words with Laredo, which the words that they had led me to believe that Phoenix is in fact keeping his AAA Mega World title, and he is going to be defending it when he's healed up, basically. Because I know back the last video I did, I kind of thought maybe they might strip him of his title, maybe they might let him keep it and defend it when he gets better, maybe they might vacate it altogether. But by the sounds of how everybody's talking and Phoenix's still involvement with AAA, it's leading me to believe that, and I think I'm 100% right with the fact that Phoenix is going to keep his World Heavyweight title, and he's going to be able to defend it when he gets back. And it looks like he might be back sooner than I originally thought. Originally, I had said he's going to be out for about 2 to 3 months. It seems like it's going to be a lot quicker than that. He's already moving around really well. He's already walking around really well. He seems to be working on it and getting back together, getting back into it. So I'm going to give him a month, maybe less, before he's actually back in the ring and defending that title. Who that title defense is going to be against, I don't really know. A lot of the fans are pushing for him versus Brian Cage, which was supposed to be the other night when this event took place. So I'm assuming that matchup is going to still happen. It's just going to happen when Phoenix recovers fully. I'm not too sure, but of course, as with everything, I'll keep you guys posted. Now, talk a little bit about WWE. Lucha Libre, which has some rather good matchups and stuff coming out. I watched a few good events that they had, not events, but I guess they're regular matchups that they had yesterday and the day before, and they're actually doing really, really great. I definitely think that you should check out WWC Lucha Libre if you haven't already, just because I know it's a lesser known company and like nobody really shows up to their events and stuff, but they still do televise them live and they still have some really great matchups. So if you want to see some really decent luchadors that you've never probably heard of before and some really great Lucha Libre matchups, definitely go check out the WWC. It's definitely worthwhile and it's definitely worth the check out. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the video for me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know very much, and I'll check you in the next video.